Hello everyone, you are just joining in the Literary Nook by Ferry. Let's start our today's topic, but before going further, don't forget to subscribe my channel, like the video and share. Today I'm gonna discuss about George Eliot. The real name of George Eliot was Mary Ann Evans. For a long time her writings was exclusively critical and philosophical in character, and it was when she was 38 that her first work of fiction, Scenes of Clerical Life 1857, appeared. It was followed by Adam Bate, The Mill on the Floss, Silas Marner, Romola, and the Middlemarch. George Eliot was born in Warwickshire, where she lived till her for her death in 1849. It was her Warwickshire experience, the life of an English village before the railway came to disturb it, which provided the substance of most of her novels, gifted with a wonderful faculty of observation. She could reproduce faithfully the mannerism of rustic habit and speech. Having a thorough knowledge of the countryside and the country people, their hierarchies and the standards of value, she could give a complete picture of their life. Moreover, she could beautifully portray the humor and the pathos of these simple folk as no English novelist had done before. Just as we look to Dickens for pictures of the city streets and to Thackeray for the vanities of society, so far, we look to George Eliot for the reflections of the country life in England. In George Eliot novels took its modern form. Every story derives its unity from its plot. The different episodes are all related to one another and subordinated to the main story. The chief appeal to the emotions of the reader is made by the inevitable catastrophe towards which the whole action moves. This unity of plot construction was lacking in English novel before George Eliot appeared on the scene. This was a singular contribution of hers to the development of English novel. Another important feature of George Eliot's novel is that they reflect more clearly than any other Victorian novels the movement of contemporary thought. They especially appeal to the mind which is troubled by religious and ethical difficulties. The mood of much of her work is like that of Matthew Arnold's poem. She shares also with him his melancholy and the depressed mood. In her novels, George Eliot takes upon herself the role of a preacher and a moralist. Though profoundly religious at heart, she was greatly affected by the scientific spirit of the age and finding no religious creed or political system satisfactory. She fell back upon duty as the supreme law of life. In all her novels, she shows in individuals the play of universal moral forces and establishes the moral law as the basis of human society. The principle of law which was in the air during Victorian era and which deeply influenced Tennyson is with George Eliot like fate. It is to her as inevitable and automatic as gravitation, and it overwhelms personal freedom and inclination. All the novels of George Eliot are examples of psychological realism. She represents in them, like Browning in his poetry, the inner struggle of a soul and reveals the motives, impulses, and hereditary influences which govern human actions. But unlike Browning, who generally stops short when he tells a story and either lets the reader draw his own conclusions or gives his in a few strike lines, George Eliot is not content until she has minutely explained the motives of her character and the moral lessons to be learned from them. Moreover, the characters in her novels, unlike in the novels of Dickens, develops gradually as we came to know them. They go from weakness to strength or from strength to weakness according to the works that they do and the thoughts that they cherish. For instance, in Romola, we found that Tito degenerates steadily because he follows selfish impulses, while Romola grows into beauty and strength with every act of self renunciation. The Little Nook by Ferry signing out.